everyone, Christina from the DIYmommy.com here, and today I want to show you how to make a beautiful blanket ladder for your home in 15 minutes or less. Truth be told, I have always wanted to make a blanket ladder, so I thought, okay, this can't be too hard. And I was trying to think of a way that I could make it without using a hammer and nails, without using a power saw if I didn't have to, and I think I came up with a pretty cool way to make one that not only looks interesting, but that takes 15 minutes or less. A blanket ladder is such a beautiful decor staple for fall. You can hang your blankets off of it, you can use it as a decor statement piece in your home, so let me show you how to make one. For this project, you're going to need some 3/4 inch wooden dowels. I found these ones at Lowe's. You can find them at most home improvement, most hardware stores, and I purchased 4 of these for this project. So 2 of them I left at the 4-foot long length. I bought them in the 48 inches length, and then I cut a couple down to 14 inches long. So I have 2 48 inch long pieces of dowel and 4 14 inch long pieces of dowel. You'll also need some copper pipe fittings for this project, so you're going to need 8 of these copper pipe T-fittings. You can find copper pipe in the plumbing section of your home improvement store, and then you're going to need 4 of these copper pipe end caps. And these are all in the 3/4 inch size as well, and they fit a little bit larger, but they fit over top of the 3/4 inch dowel. So you can cut all of your dowel with a hand saw like this, so you don't have to use a power tool, and just measure it and cut it, or you can get your hardware store to cut it as well. You can also use a miter saw if you do want to use a power tool. Then you're going to take the 2 longer pieces, so the 48 inch pieces, and measure 9 inches from the bottom of one and then up 2.5 inches to mark where the copper T is going to be, and continue on. So mark a 9 inch piece, a 2.5 inch piece, another 9 inch piece, another 2.5 inch piece, and then finally 9 inches and 2.5 inches, and that's going to be where you're going to put 4 of your copper pipe tees. So I'm just marking with a pencil, and then mark both of the 48 inch strips like I'm doing here, and then after just line them up together to make sure they match. For this project, I'm using Gorilla Epoxy. This is a very hard, water-resistant adhesive, and it has the epoxy in one side of the gun and the hardener in the other. And when you squeeze these out onto a container and mix them up together, they make a really hard adhesive, and I liked this for this project. Make sure you wear gloves when you're doing this, and make sure to follow all of the directions on the manufacturer's package to make sure that you're using this adhesive safely. Next, put some of the adhesive on the mark where your first T is going to go on your wooden dowel, and then take your copper pipe T and slide it onto that position. The nice thing about epoxy is that you're going to have some time, about 5 to 10 minutes, to move all of these pipe pieces around. It doesn't harden right away like a glue gun glue would or anything like that. So you can kind of slide all of your pipes into the basic position, and then after we've put them in their position at the end, you'll see you can kind of slide them perfectly into place at the end before your epoxy hardens. So continue doing this, put the epoxy on the wooden dowel where you want your copper pipe tees to go, or you mark them with the pencil, slide on the pipe, and put them in place. So the epoxy does harden after about 5 minutes. It starts to get really hard to work with. So just put a little bit at a time in a disposable container and mix it up little by little, like I'm doing here. So I slid my first copper pipe T from the top and then the other 3 from the bottom. So here is one side of my ladder all finished, and then go ahead and do the same thing for the second side of the ladder. You're working again with your 48 inch long piece, and you're going to be putting that epoxy on the mark where your copper T's are. I should mention that I decided to keep my ladder with the raw birchwood. I was considering staining it, and I tried a couple samples. I wasn't really happy with it, but if you did want to stain your dowels, you would do it before you put on the copper pipe, let that dry completely, and then you would put the copper pipe on after that. Next, you're going to take the horizontal rungs. So what I'm doing here is I'm putting the epoxy inside of the T of the copper pipe fitting like this, and then I'm going ahead and putting that horizontal 14-inch long dowel into the copper pipes. And you can put them in position, but again, we're going to make sure everything is perfectly placed and straight at the very end before our epoxy dries. So again, just taking that epoxy, putting it inside the copper pipes. Don't worry if some of them come out, because you have a little bit of time before everything dries. You can also take some of the epoxy, the adhesive, and put it on the inside of those copper pipe end caps. And once you've finished putting all your rungs in place of the ladder, you can put these end caps on the ends, so the top and bottom of the longer dowels. I really love how the copper pipe here looks with the raw birchwood, and I think it just looks really fall-like and so interesting and unique. So before the epoxy completely hardens, you can go ahead and make sure that your dowels are pushed fully into the copper pipe. You can push down on the rungs to make sure they're nice and straight. Definitely work on a nice solid, a nice even surface to make sure that your rungs are going to stay in place. I did spend quite a bit of time pushing on the outside and pushing down on the rungs to make sure that everything was even and everything was nice and snug and that epoxy was sticking really well. Now, the only thing that takes a long time for this project is letting the epoxy dry. The manufacturer recommends at least 24 hours. So let it dry nice and long, especially if you're going to want to have really heavy blankets on this. So I let mine dry for over a day. If you did make a few little oopsies like I did and get epoxy on parts of the ladder you didn't want to, all you have to do is take a sanding sponge and sand that epoxy off. I was considering using some acetone or something, but I didn't want to wreck the look of my raw wood, and a sanding sponge worked perfectly well for just taking off that dried adhesive. Once you've sanded your ladder and you have made sure that there's no adhesive left on the copper pipe sections or the wooden sections of the ladder, you can take a cloth or you can take a tack cloth like I'm doing here and wipe away all the debris from the sanding. And that is how easy it is to make this beautiful fall-like blanket ladder. So simple and straightforward. You could definitely make it in 15 minutes or less. The only thing that takes a little while to do is letting it dry. So for now, I've put this in our living room. I've put a few blankets on it that I have loved for this season. I'm really enjoying the little bits of copper. I'm definitely using copper in my fall decor again this year. I love its warmth and its patina and just how it reminds me of fall and mugs, and I just like how this ladder has little bits of it. I also really like how I didn't have to use power tools to make this if I didn't want to. So far, I'm really happy with how this ladder is holding up, how that nice strong epoxy is holding those rungs in place so I can put some of my favorite blankets on this ladder to enjoy. Thanks so much for watching my video today. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Let me know down in those comments below what you thought of my simple 15-minute blanket ladder. I would also love to know if you've made one and how you made it, or if you would try this one and change it up a little bit for your own style. Let me know down in those comments. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel for more DIY and decor ideas on a budget. I'm going to be sharing a ton more simple DIYs here for fall, so stay tuned for that. Make sure you hit the notification bell so you're the first to hear of all my videos. Thank you so much again for watching. I'm going to leave some more videos that I hope you're going to love right up here.